One of the joint patrons of World Youth Day is that remarkable man, St. John of Avila, a wandering saint who traveled throughout Andalusia in the days when horseback was the fastest means of transport available. John had no mobile phone and couldn't send an SMS or use social networking sites, but he certainly was an accomplished preacher. He was a teacher whose concern for young people led him to do good deeds for everyone he met, and to direct them along the path of faith. John of Avila was born in Almodóvar del Campo in 1500. He studied law in Salamanca, but left everything behind to devote himself entirely to prayer, penance, and inner purification. It was his wish to become a missionary, but what fate had in fact in store for him was a long period of teaching, which would later earn him the title of Apostle of Andalusia. He suffered persecution and was imprisoned in 1535, and after his release from prison, he moved to Montilla. In this town, he was the head of 11 different schools and wrote his work, Memoriales, an account of the Council of Trent. St. John of Avila lived in Montilla in the 16th century, a time when the town was one of the most prestigious religious centers of Golden Age Spain. Many well-known Andalusians of that time came to know the town, attracted by the spirit of the Master of Saints. The house where the Apostle of Andalusia lived stands right in the center of Montilla. Its structure has remained unchanged to this day, with all its original rooms, and the saint's spirit is very much alive there today. The old building houses St. John of Avila's signature and seal, and the permanent legacy of his religious work for saints like St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross, and Louis of Granada. Inside, there is a magnificent painting in the chapel of the Virgin of Peace and the bedroom where he died on the morning of May 10th, 1569. His mortal remains are venerated in the shrine of St. Avila, situated a few meters from the house where he spent the latter years of his life. This shrine, soon to be named a minor basilica, is due to become a major center of pilgrimage once the Pope, Benedict XVI, has confirmed the appointment of St. John of Avila as a universal doctor of the Church. The shrine preserves the tombstone of the Marquises of Priego, and the main altarpiece holds the urn containing the saint's remains. His spirit remains alive in the shrine, which has facilities suitable for both study and prayer, and which contains an extensive library for those carrying out studies about Avila or those attracted to the saint's life and work. The town of Montilla boasts a rich religious heritage, which faithfully demonstrates the presence and legacy left by saints such as St. Francis Solanus, the patron saint of Montilla, whose devotion is evident in the church built in his honor over the house where he was born. It would be difficult to find a more appropriate setting for the host of eminent characters of that era, most of whom had connections with St. John of Avila. The convent of Santa Clara, built in 1525, houses a rich sculptural and artistic heritage, and the impressive plateresque entrance leads to the convent church, presided over by an attractive altarpiece from the Baroque neoclassical transition period. The monastery preserves everyday objects used by St. John of Avila in his lifetime, as well as many other valuable historical items. The convent of Santa Ana was founded in 1580, and features an altarpiece by Pedro Roldán, which is considered the most important example of the southern Cordovan altarpieces tradition. Montilla's religious heritage is completed by the 15th century parish church of St. James. A tower designed by Hernán Ruiz stands alongside, one of the most readily recognized images of the town, next to the old district of Escuchuela in the historic town center of Montilla. The oldest religious building is the parish church of St. Sebastian. With its Gothic touches, it stands at the center of a lively neighborhood, which holds its festival of the May crosses every year, when the public flock to see the ornamental beauty of the crosses. The Renaissance Church of St. Augustine gains special relevance during Holy Week. It houses the carving of Our Father Jesus the Nazarene, attributed to Juan de Mesa the Younger, and the image of Christ of the Ivy, a carving kept by St. John of Avila in his home for many years until his death. Wine is, of course, one of the main attractions of Montilla. The wines of the protected designation of origin are produced following a traditional process which starts with the grape harvest, its transport to the wine presses for crushing, and finally the production of the naturally graduated wines, which are practically unique in the world. The jewel crown of Montilla Moriles is the sweet Pedro Jimenez wine, obtained from the juice from grapes dried in the sun. Its exquisite palate makes it a perfect accompaniment for desserts and a staple ingredient in hot cuisine. It is, in fact, one of the most highly acclaimed wines in the world. Deep in the cellars, those veritable cathedrals of wine, stand the lines of barrels where the precious treasure is aged by a process known as the solera system. Fino wines, Amontillados, Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez, young wines and vat wines provide the range of flavors and aromas run from the earth, which have brought prestige and renown to this town all over the world. The Montilla Sierra or mountains, the superior quality area of this wine, is where the local variety of the protected designation of origin thrives, and all around it lie the wine presses, where the wine comes to life and where the purest essence of the winemaking culture of this land is contained. The history of Montilla is perfectly well documented in the town's archives. The historical archives, the protocol archives, and the famous Manuel Ruiz Luque Foundation Library, one of the most prestigious libraries specializing in local history, which shares rooms with the José Garnelo Museum in the mansion of the Casa de las Aguas, which belongs to the town council. Another local museum, the Historical Museum, houses collections of archaeological remains and utensils from ancient times up until the present day. The Castle of the Gran Capitan takes pride of place in Montilla's tourist route, and its halls have been adapted to host the theme museum of wines of Andalusia. This military leader, now a household name, was born in the fortress here in Montilla in 1453. He won the war against the French and conquered the Kingdom of Naples for the Crown of Castile. This historical legacy bears testimony to Montilla's historical importance, and now offers visitors the chance to get to know its inner walls, which have been converted into the thematic wine museum, as well as the connected buildings and grounds in which archaeological remains dating back to the 8th century BC have been discovered. Wine-producing culture and art come together at Envidiarte, the Center for Contemporary Art and Wine, situated at the entrance of the town, in a building equipped with the latest technology, which bears testimony to the rich heritage that embodies the wine-producing tradition of Montilla, the center and the heart of the Montilla-Moriles wine route, which includes 8 other municipalities in the province of Córdoba. Wine cellars, churches, convents, archives, and, above all, the human element, the open, hospitable character of its people, are the best selling points for the town of Montilla, where the patron saint of the secular Spanish clergy and one of the most enlightened minds of Golden Age Spain came to end his days.